Hey guys, it's Ruja here from Import Export TV. We've finally come around for the Freight Forwarder State of Play and Mastering Foreign Exchange. 2 sessions to take place on November the 29th in Brisbane and the following week, which is December the 7th in Adelaide. As a proud sponsor of those 2 events, we've got Evans International Freight Consolidators. With me, Karina Gonzalez, who is their National Sales Manager. Now, she's here to explain a little bit more in detail what Evans is all about and why they are sponsoring the event. So, welcome. Nice to meet you in person finally, Karina.
Nice to meet you, Rusha. Thank you for having us.
Pleasure. So, in a nutshell, what is Evans all about?
When we think about a company that we want to deal with, we think about those intangible factors, maintaining the old school values through developing with their people. So I would say the main difference that we have at Evans is the people that we have on board.
Yeah.
Our teams, they've been specifically put into their position based on their expertise. So we have the right people in the right roles, proudly doing what they do best.
Yeah. And Karina, so you are one of the newest team members, and Lance Evans has done remarkably well over the last 2 years during COVID to look after his staff and to further motivate them for future ventures coming forward. So in terms of your point of view, what sets the company apart and what makes that work culture so strong?
The work culture has a good mix of new software integration and old school values, as called here in Australia.
Yeah.
We get together when, for example, we have a client approaching us and they come with a specific opportunity for us that might be a challenge for us to try to sort out. We talk amongst each other, we make 100 phone calls, and we deliver options to our clients.
Yeah.
That's what set us apart and make us totally different. The challenge make us work harder to deliver that service that we promise.
Yeah. So thank you, Karina. It was a real pleasure to meet you in person, and Lance Evans will be the next interviewee of ours, explaining a little bit more in detail about foreign exchange and what we can expect from his and your sessions at the next 2 events over the next month. So join us for the next one.
Good morning. My name is Lance Evans. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called McNell's Evans International Freight Consolidators. We're one of the largest export consolidators in Australia. Consolidators meaning that we accept small pallet loads, carton loads of cargo and consolidate it into containers to a common destination on a weekly service. And we do that out of Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Fremantle and Adelaide. Exchange rates is a very important part of our business. In fact, I've made our finance or accounting department a profit centre for our business. This is primarily because we invoice customers in US dollars. We get charged by the shipping lines in US dollars. There's no exchange loss. However, of course, we're sitting here in Australia and we invoice local customers in Australian dollars. So you convert the exchange rate, then get charged a different rate by the shipping line or your overseas vendor. And of course, you're left with a US dollar amount that you have to pay. And when you do pay that goods, if the exchange rate has dropped, especially with the massive drop we've had recently with the strength of the US dollar, and that leaves basically any margin that you made on the job been eaten up in loss on buying those US dollars to repatriate the funds overseas or to the shipping lines. So it's a conundrum for all freight forwarders. The majority of freight forwarders in Australia and New Zealand are import focused rather than export focused. And so they typically owe money to their overseas agents every month. And let's imagine that you had a couple of $100,000 US dollars owing to an agent. You've collected that money on an exchange rate of 72 or 71 cents. And you're now having to buy the US dollars a month later if you're paying on time to your overseas agent, and you're now buying that US dollar at 61 or 62 cents. So there's obviously a massive amount of difference there that nobody's responsible for except yourself, because you haven't had your US dollar debts covered. So what we've done is we buy forward with a foreign exchange broker every month. Of course, no one can ever pick the dip or the peak of the market. So when you buy, at least it's a fixed amount that you're then drawing on in order to repay your debts. So foreign exchange is a really big issue for most freight forwarders, and finding a foreign exchange dealer that works with your software and gives you good shaded rates and is fast and has a prompt payment arrangement through the whether it be the SWIFT system or their own offices around the world, and that's a really important thing. As far as our business is concerned, we've been around for close to 14 years now, trying to grow our market space in this less than container load consolidation business. And one would say that we're on the bottom end of the margin scale because our customers are other freight forwarders. And when your customers are other freight forwarders, and then that freight forwarder is talking to the direct shippers and importers, we have to be, by necessity, at the bottom end of the margin scale. We're buying space off the shipping line and then reselling parts of that space to the freight forwarders, who in turn sell that on to their direct customers.
Vince Lamora, this is your 8th day with OFX.
Sure is, Ruja.
And your title is?
My title is Corporate Partnerships Manager, Australia New Zealand for OFX.
Lovely. So I believe you'll be the one speaking at the next 2 events with ATLC and OFX.
I am actually, so I'm looking forward to it. I think the first one's on the 29th in Brisbane. and then the 7th of December in Adelaide. So I'm really looking forward to taking the stage with that event. Thank you.
And what is it that we'll be hearing more about?
Well, obviously we'll talk about all things FX, so foreign exchange. We'll talk about what the market's doing. We'll talk about my role and how I can help clients in that industry.
Yeah.
And a little bit more of an in-depth discussion about how customers can go about managing foreign currency risk, which is very important.
Okay. So Vince, who would you call on to come and attend? Who is this useful for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in my role as Corporate Partnerships Manager, we've actually integrated with CargoWise, part of WiseTech Global.
Yeah.
So there's a natural affiliation already with that group, and all the freight forwarders that come to these events, 90% of them are using CargoWise. So my role is to let them understand exactly how to integrate the OFX component of CargoWise, show them how easy it is to integrate, register for it, and then make it a seamless process so when they're actually using CargoWise, they integrate OFX into that process.
So how does foreign exchange play a part of that?
Very important. Obviously, in the current global currency market, we're seeing a lot of volatility. We just had in this week alone, the US go up 75 basis points on interest rates. The Aussie market on Cup Day went up 25 points.
So much detail.
There is a lot of detail, but all of that leads to uncertainty in terms of where currencies are going. Nobody knows where the interest rate levels are going to stop at.
Yeah.
We could reach 3.5 to 365 points here in Australia, which is the current market expectations. The US are surprising with some of their data, so they've gone up 75 points again. Not sure where their inflation levels are going to go. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. What that means is that customers need to manage risk. Focus in the discussions we've had today at our event is talking to customers about managing their risk.
And have you seen people reacting are they panicking?
No, the people that we met today are not panicking because they're focusing on their core business. What they haven't had over the course of the last 12 months, thanks to COVID, unfortunately, is a lack of time to focus on the small things that they need to do.
Yeah.
They've covered themselves with the supply chain issues that we've experienced in the last 12 to 18 months. They're coming out of that now. A lot of the people that we spoke to today decided that now's the time to actually start looking forward to 2023 and decide how can we optimize what we do. And part of that optimization is utilizing the platform that they already have and managing the risks that they perhaps haven't had a chance to look at. One of which is the OFX integration in the CargoWise platform.
Okay, and where to from here going forward?
Well, from an FX point of view, obviously managing risk is important. I think the Australian economy is doing quite well. We've still got a lot of people who've got fixed rate loans that are going to mature in the next probably 6 to 12 months. And there's still a little bit of uncertainty in people's spending habits. Employment is really strong, which is really great for our economy, but there's a lot of opportunities for our customers to grow. And I think as people get accustomed to the environment that we're working in, that people will see that the market opportunities are definitely strong for Australia. And I'm looking forward to working with all those customers on those opportunities.
Definitely. Now there you have it. So 29th of November in Brisbane and the 7th of December in Adelaide, and you'll hear more about IFX and foreign exchange rates and all about it through Vince.
I really look forward to it, Ruja, and I look forward to seeing you then.
Cheers.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.